Welcome to Traveling Home Yoga. My name is Leah, and today we're going to be focusing on a practice that is geared towards specifically the hips and the legs. So roll out your mat and let's begin. I'd like us to start finding a nice comfortable seat today. You can sit cross-legged, you can sit up on a blanket, a bolster, a pillow if you have one at home, just to get your hips slightly more elevated than the knees will help them to soften and drop down a little bit more if you lack the flexibility through the hips. Get comfortable, and then once you're there, sit up nice and tall. Feel the crown of the head lengthening up towards the ceiling. Let yourself sit back a little bit so that the heart is stacked above the hips and the head above the heart. It's our natural tendency to kind of want to like round or hunch the shoulders forward, but I'd like us to sit up as tall as we possibly can, rolling the shoulders up, back, and down, maybe 2 to 3 times. And then allowing those shoulders just to soften away from the ears as they slide down the back. Letting more of that weight come back into the hip bones and out of the legs for a moment. Can you feel the crown of the head lengthening up on your inhales, growing a little bit taller, creating space between each vertebra of the spine? And then maintaining the length that you've created on your exhales, can you redirect your attention and your focus back down to the lower half of the body? The hips, the legs, the feet, the ankles. Notice what parts of your body are connected to your mat, connected to the ground. Feel that connection for a moment. And then on your next exhale, can you soften any parts of the hips and the legs where you might be tensing up unnecessarily? Feel everything sink down to the earth a little bit more. Feeling grounded and rooted here. Take a few more deep breaths like this, reaching the crown of the head up on the inhales. And then softening the hips and the legs on the exhales. After your next breath, let's gently start to open our eyes, beginning our practice by inhaling as we sweep the arms all the way out and up, palms touch overhead. Exhale, draw those hands down into prayer at your heart. We'll bring the hands back behind us, fingertips pointing towards the hips as the hands drop slightly behind the hips, and we lean back into them, giving us the space to uncross the legs. You can separate your feet just slightly wider than hip width distance apart here, and we're going to let our knees just drop side to side like windshield wipers. Just a gentle movement here to start to wake up the legs as we've been sitting cross-legged for our beginning meditation. Let's take a couple more like this. The next time that you bring your knees over to the right, let's keep them there. We're going to rotate that right hand to face behind you and then lift your left arm up and overhead, lengthening through that left side body here. We can drop that left hand to the outside of the right knee, sit up nice and tall on an inhale, and exhale, twisting back behind, looking beyond your right shoulder. Untwist gently, coming back through center. Bring both hands back behind you, fingers pointing back towards the hips. Knees lift up once more, and now we'll drop those knees over to the left. Turn the left fingertips face behind you. Right arm sweeps up. Take a little side body stretch here as you reach those fingers high up towards the sky. Lengthen through the spine on an inhale. On an exhale, drop that right hand to the outside of the left knee and allow that to help facilitate that twist. Twisting from the spine, start from the base of the spine, the belly, rotating the rib cage, and then gaze back beyond the left shoulder. One more breath like this, and then we'll untwist ourselves again, coming back to face forward once more. As those hands drop back behind you, we'll lift the knees back up. So this time, I'd like you to walk your feet closer in, so they're about hip width distance apart. The hands are going to stay behind us, fingers pointing towards the hips. And we're setting ourselves up here to come into this reverse tabletop position. But before we do that, can you roll the shoulders back and lift the heart? Take your gaze all the way up. Maybe the head even drops back a little bit. And then on your exhale, let your shoulders round as you make a little bit more of like a C shape with the spine and tuck your chin down to your chest. Do that 2 more times. Inhale, roll the shoulders back, lift the chin. Exhaling as we round. Once more. The next time you roll those shoulders back, let's press into the hands and the feet, lifting your hips up off the ground, coming into a reverse tabletop here. Press into the heels, squeeze the glutes to activate them so that we lift the belly and the chest up towards the ceiling here, and breathe for a moment. Let's take a big inhale through our nose. Open your mouth, stick out your tongue, and exhale, lion's breath. Do that 2 more times, filling the lungs completely and exhaling all of that air out. Make it audible. Make it a nice sigh of relief. 1 more time, inhaling completely, exhaling all of that air out. Let's drop those hips back down to the ground here. We're going to take our right ankle and cross it over top of our left knee. So this might feel slightly uncomfortable for us, a little bit of tension through the hips. If you have the space to walk the hands a little closer in, then maybe you can bring the chest and belly even closer towards the thighs. And we're just going to rock those knees a little bit side to side. Okay, let's take another breath. Straighten out your left leg, and then we'll grab onto that right knee and right foot. So lifting it up here will give you the space to kind of rock that leg side to side, almost like you're rocking a baby. Now, if you have a little bit more flexibility and like something slightly more intense, maybe you want to bring the sole of that right foot to rest on the inside of the left elbow crease. And as you draw that leg a little closer in, you can continue that rocking motion. Let's place that right foot down on the inside of the left thigh, sitting up nice and tall for Janu Sirsasana. Arms are going to come all the way up on an inhale, and exhale, let's fold over that left leg. Maybe you can reach for the foot, the ankle, whatever we're able to hold on to here, or maybe the hands just rest alongside the legs. No matter where you're at, feeling like you're pulling your heart towards your toes rather than the top of the head, so we're not rounding the spine, but we're keeping that length through the spine as we fold. And then bring your awareness back over to that bent knee, that right leg. Can you soften and relax through that right leg and right hip for just another breath? Good, let's take one more big full deep breath like this. Sitting up nice and tall, we're going to take that right hand back behind us once more. Lift the left arm up, and then as you place that left foot down onto the ground, roll up onto your right knee and reach back through your left fingertips. If this is too challenging, you can stay seated and just lift the heart and lean back. If the hips are lifted, we're going to drop them back down, drawing that left leg in once more, and we'll switch sides. So let's place the feet flat again, just like we had them before. Hands are coming back behind us, and then this time we're going to cross our left ankle over top of our right knee. Now you can start by just simply rocking side to side. If this is challenging for you, the further that right foot is away, the more space we'll have to get that ankle over top of the knee. And then the closer the foot is in, the more challenging this will become for us. So you kind of find where you're at today. And then from here, we're going to extend that right leg all the way out. Coming back up to a sitting position, let's grab onto that left foot with your right hand and that left knee with your left hand, lifting that foot up and rocking side to side. Again, almost like you're rocking a baby. Now again, you can bring that left foot up into the right elbow crease to get the leg in a little bit closer if that feels like it makes a little bit more sense for your body and you want that deeper stretch. Let's place that left foot down on the inside of your right thigh as you sit up nice and tall. Arms will go up on an inhale as we lengthen, and exhale, hinging from the hips as we fold forward. And again, the hands can drop alongside the legs. You can grab for the foot or ankle, but feeling like you're putting your heart towards your toes. So that again, noticing as you hinge from the hips, you maintain the length of the spine. We're not rounding or hunching the back forward, but we're feeling that spine lengthen as we fold. Take another breath like this, really relaxing through that left knee and left hip. Don't forget about it. And when you're ready to release here, we'll sit up tall again, taking that left hand back behind us, pressing down into the sole of your right foot and your left knee, lifting your hips up and rolling that right shoulder back. Again, you're welcome to stay in a seated position and just roll that shoulder back and lift the heart as well. Let's take another breath like this. We're going to come up onto all fours, tabletop position. So stacking those hands underneath the shoulders and the knees underneath the hips. Let's take a moment to bring that awareness again back into our legs, sending that right leg back, bending your knee and flexing your foot here. Can we get that knee lifted up in line with the hips and then take some little pulses that press the sole of the foot even higher up towards the sky? Let's pulse for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take that right knee out to the side, dog next to a tree or fire hydrant shape. So you want to keep the weight evenly distributed through the palms and then lift that right leg up a little bit higher. Bring the knee forward to kiss the back of your right elbow or tricep, and then as it comes through center, we'll bring it back up towards the ceiling once more. So you're just circling around, really feeling that right leg, that femur circulate around in that hip socket, kind of waking up that right hip. One more big rotation, and then we'll step that right foot to the outside of your right hand. So you're coming into this lizard lunge here. Now you'll let your hips drive forward and walk that right foot forward enough to make sure that your knee stays stacked above the ankle. You can come onto the tips of your fingers, or if you have blocks to elevate the upper body, you can use those here as well. Let's take an inhale like this, and on an exhale, we'll walk it back to straighten that front leg, letting our toes point up towards the ceiling. Inhales take us forward into that low lunge. Exhales take us back as we straighten that front leg. Let's try that one more time. Inhaling as we come forward. Exhaling as you come back, straighten the leg and hold it here. We're going to pivot, turning the sole of your right foot down, rotating that left knee around and facing the long edge of your mat as you rise up into gate pose. Kneeling on the left leg, right leg is extended all the way out. Inhale, lift those arms high up towards the sky. Exhale, we're going to sit back towards that left heel, letting the upper body hinge and come down. Let's do that 5 times. Inhale up. Exhale, sit it back. Good. 3 more. Inhale up. Exhale, sit back. For 2. And last one. As we sit it back, we're going to hold here, reach the fingers forward, keep the upper body active, and then get a little bit more into the legs as we pulse, trying to get that left butt cheek towards that left heel. Let's pulse for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop the hands down. You're in a child's pose now with that right leg extended out here for a moment. Maybe you even want to walk your hands over towards that right leg to deepen that stretch through the leg into the hip. Maybe you even would like to lift the right toes up towards the sky here. So it's really just about an exploration of how it feels through the hip and the groin. Just kind of let yourself feel into that space for a moment. As we bring ourselves back up, let's walk ourselves back over towards that right foot, turning back to face the front of our mat and back into that runner's lunge. Can you tuck the left toes under? Lift that left knee up, and we'll step our left foot to the outside of our left hand. As you come to the top of your mat here, we're going to parallel the thighs to the ground and reach the fingers forward. So we come into this sort of squatting position here. And again, this is really about grounding down through the hips and through the legs and really activating the hips and the legs. So once more, we're going to pulse. Let's pulse for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Feel that burn in the legs as you root down and rise all the way up. Lift the arms up high and take the palms to touch. Exhaling as you let yourself come back down into this forward fold. Feet are a little bit wider here, but allow your head to be heavy as we shake it out, yes or no. Take a moment to kind of bend into one knee and then the other, or maybe sway the upper body side to side. Take another breath like this, and now we're going to step ourselves right back down into that tabletop position. Back on all fours, let's take a nice big full deep breath. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling as you clear it out. Let's send the left leg back this time. Bend the knee and flex the foot again. So we're back into that position where we're going to pulse that foot up towards the ceiling. And can you bring the foot up a little bit higher as we pulse, pulse, pulse for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's bring the knee out to the side and then bring it forward to kiss the back of the elbow or tricep through center and around. So once more, you're drawing that really big circle. Sometimes when we do this, we notice that it's easier on one side versus the other, or maybe it kind of feels a little bit mechanical, almost like we're creating a box shape instead of a circle. And so as you continue this movement around, can you make it a little bit more fluid? Can you allow yourself to breathe as you move? It's not necessarily always easy, but we want to build that kind of internal heat in the body, and we're trying to create some mobility through the hip here, so it doesn't just always only come from stretching. Step that left foot to the outside of your left hand. Let your hips drop forward and come into this lizard lunge. So the back knee is down, the back toes are untucked. As the hips drive forward, again, you can come onto the tips of your fingers. Or maybe you want to take those blocks, if you have them, place them under your hands for support. We're inhaling as we press the hips forward. Exhaling back into a half split shape as we straighten that left leg. Inhale forward and exhale back. Okay, let's try that again. Inhale forward and exhale back. Let's stay here for a moment. Let the upper body fold down, and again, keeping the spine nice and straight. We're going to pivot, so pressing the sole of your left foot down, rotating that right knee, facing the long edge of your mat. You're on that right knee and the left leg is straight, and we rise up into that gate pose. Lift the arms all the way up high. Inhaling here. Exhale as you sit your butt back towards that right heel. Reach your fingers forward. Keep the upper body active here, so more of that intention comes into the legs. Inhale as you rise. Exhale as we sit back. Good, let's do that 3 more. Last one. Hold it here nice and low, and then just start to pulse, pulse, pulse for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop the hands down. Child's pose with that left leg extended out. Breathe into the legs, and again, you're welcome to walk your hands towards that extended leg or stay where you're at. But again, we're letting this be an exploration for our own bodies for a moment. Walk those hands over towards that left foot. Turn to face the front of your mat. Straighten out that right knee. Come back to that low lizard lunge. Tuck the right toes under. Lift that right knee up off the ground. And we'll step our right foot forward to the top of our mat, just to the outside edge of that right hand. Feet are a little bit wider, and we're coming down into this sort of squatted position, letting the thighs be parallel to the floor. And we're pulsing, 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 not as long as we did last time around, just a few more moments here. And then I want you to sit down nice and low into a yogi squat. So from here, if you need to, you can kind of like sway the hips a little side to side or walk the feet out a little bit wider. This isn't always the most comfortable position, but this is meant to be a resting position for our bodies. You can use supportive blocks underneath your sit bones to make this a little bit easier for you. But see if you can come into a space of stillness, even if you're lifted a little bit higher, that's okay. Press the knees away with the elbows, lift the crown of the head up and close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Inhale completely. Exhale completely. Let's root down through the feet. We're going to rise all the way to stand. Sweep those arms all the way up. Take the palms to touch and then sit yourself right back down into that yogi squat. Let's do that 5 times. So that was 5. Let's go for 4, 3, 2, and last 1. Sit yourself all the way down and hold it here once more. And then we'll come into a forward fold. So as you lift the hips up high, let the fingers dangle down towards the ground. Parallel the feet. You can keep them a little bit wider here. Maybe you'd like to grab opposite elbows, rocking side to side, shaking your head yes or no. Maybe you'd like to make peace fingers that wrap around those big toes. As you pull the upper body down, the elbows open out wide and the head hangs heavy. Take another breath in your fold, whether you're in stillness or movement is your choice. And then as we let the fingers dangle back down, let's roll ourselves to stand, stacking vertebra by vertebra as we come all the way up. Head, neck, and shoulders are the last to rise. We'll roll those shoulders up, back, and down a couple times. Take the hands back behind you, interlace your fingers, roll your shoulders back and lift your chest. Come back into your fold, interlaced fingers go up. Just a little bit of a shoulder rinse here. We're going to take those hands back down to the ground. Step your feet back to downward facing dog. Take a moment in your down dog to pedal out your legs, bending into one knee and then the other, alternating as you reach one heel towards the mat and then the other. Really making sure that you're spreading those fingers nice and wide. Pressing into all 10 fingers in the palms to alleviate some of that stress off of the heels of your hands and your wrists. Lift the sit bones high. Let your chest press back towards your thighs. We're going to send that right leg all the way up high. And then as you bring the right knee in towards the chest, can you drop your right knee to your right wrist, ankle to your left hip crease? So you're coming down onto that right shin, and we'll wiggle that back foot back to create a wide separation between the legs as you settle yourself down into this half pigeon pose. Now this is where a lot of props can come in handy, and if you're at home and you don't have a bolster, maybe just a rolled up blanket, you can slide that underneath that right hip to give you a little bit more support. We want to keep those hips squared here, and then when you're ready, you can lower down onto your elbows, or maybe even all the way down, letting the chest come to the floor, the forehead come to the floor. Let yourself come into a space of ease here. I know this pose is not always the most comfortable. In fact, oftentimes it feels intentionally uncomfortable, as it's kind of meant to here. It is our natural inclination to want to pull ourselves out of a space that feels uncomfortable, right? We like tense up the body, we resist that discomfort. Can you allow yourself to soften and come back to your breath? We did a lot to activate the legs by coming into those different types of squats today, and this is more of a passive way for us to get into the hips and the legs. So using your breath as a tool to help you create a sense of ease and peace even through the discomfort of this shape. And you'll notice that the longer you can stay focusing on your breathing, the easier it becomes for you to stay here as well. Deep breath in and deep breath out. Let's take another breath or two. You can always pause this video if you feel like you want to stay here a little bit longer. But together we'll rise back up, coming back to downward facing dog. Tuck those left toes under, lift those hips up and back. And again, you can pedal out your legs, or maybe you want to shake out that right leg before we get ourselves ready to switch sides. We'll lift the left leg up And then bring that left knee towards the chest, dropping the knee towards the left wrist, ankle towards that right hip crease. And again, using whatever props you have handy to support you here, making sure that you're not dropping over into that left hip, but you're keeping those hips squared. Even if that means that left butt cheek doesn't touch the ground, then you can use a blanket or a pillow or a block even for that support underneath, lowering yourself down when you feel ready to. And once more, coming back to your breath. For me, this practice really teaches us how to navigate through the difficulties of life. And, here on our mat, we move through postures that don't always feel easy. They feel quite challenging at times and uncomfortable in various ways, whether we're actively building strength or we're passively trying to create flexibility. And so the way that we allow ourselves to navigate through that, using the breath as a tool to create a greater sense of ease, that's the same tool that we can use off of our mats as well when we're navigating through any difficult situation that life might hand us. Staying here for another breath or two, or again, pausing this video if you feel like you need to stay longer. We're going to come out of this a little differently on this side. So as you walk your hands back under your shoulders, this time, remove any props you might have from underneath that left hip, and then allow yourself to sink over into the left hip so that you can bring that right leg around and out in front of you, placing the feet flat on the ground, hip width distance apart. Hands are going to come back behind us once more, roll the shoulders back, and then we'll press into those feet and hands, lifting ourselves to that reverse tabletop one last time. Dropping those hips back down, and this time bringing the soles of your feet to touch, letting the knees open out wide. Now you can grab onto the feet or the ankles if you want to, but take a moment to kind of flutter the knees. And then finding stillness as the knees fall away towards the ground, sit up nice and tall. If it's possible, can you wrap your hands around the outer edges of your feet so that the inner arches of your feet can open up like the pages of a book? Spine is nice and long as you inhale, and exhale, hinging from the hips as we come forward, even if it's the tiniest little movement, like a half an inch. If you have a lot of space, then maybe you're using the elbows to press the knees away as you come down. Maybe you'd like to close your eyes here, and again, coming back to your breath, allowing your breath to be the tool that you use to create space and ease as well. Maybe inhaling, you're thinking about lengthening the spine, and exhaling, hinging from the hips and softening through the knees. We'll take one more breath like this. As you release your grip on your feet, let's sit up tall again. Hands can come back behind us, uncross the legs, and separate the feet a little wider than hip width distance. And the last time, we'll let those knees go like windshield wipers, just like we did in the beginning of our practice. One more time on each side. And then sitting up nice and tall, finding that nice comfortable seat. Taking our hands into prayer at our hearts, bowing our heads and closing our eyes. Finding stillness here for a seated meditation. Coming back to feeling yourself sitting up nice and tall, crown of the head lengthening up. And then on the exhales, redirecting that awareness back down to the legs, the knees, the hips. Do they feel any differently now than they did in the beginning of this practice? Notice that. Take a moment to thank yourself for coming to your mat today. Thank you for sharing this practice with me. Namaste. See you next time.